Hello. I decided that I would share my testimony. This is a lawn care more of a lawn care channel than anything else, but maybe just because it's a lawn care channel doesn't mean that other people scrolling on YouTube, won't stumble across my testimony. So when I was 16, started back then, first of all, I didn't grow up in a Christian household at all. We did go to church on Christmas, but that was it. I did believe in God when I was younger. Like, I used to watch the movies when they would come on, like the Moses movies and those other ones, and I always kind of believed in God. My mom actually had wrote down a prayer, the Lord's Prayer. I used to pray before bed and stuff like that, but no real understanding of the faith or what Jesus did on the cross and what that meant. Actually, I remember when I was younger, we lived by a cemetery, and in the cemetery there was a monument of Jesus. There was on the cross, and his disciples were there. And I just remember thinking, gosh, it didn't make sense to me. I just thought Jesus had failed, and his disciples were, the whole thing was kind of, I don't know, impotent or something. I just thought the whole thing was, I didn't understand it. I didn't give it much more of a thought. I thought, Good Friday, why would you call Jesus dying on Good Friday? Good Friday didn't make nothing in the Bible. My only encounters with the Bible is it just didn't make sense. So, and I end up, in a lot of ways, just being proud of the world and having I'm putting myself first, and that kind of stuff. And when I started getting into trouble at an early age, and drinking and partying and drugs and everything. And one day when I was 16, I was at my friend's house, and we were in the basement, and I kind of felt, it was really weird. We were just doing something called Ritalin. And it's not even a drug, really. It's a medication that's prescribed. And it's no big deal, but I had this sense when I was going to that house that night that something was like almost talking to me or something like that. I started to have this feeling like, where are you going in life? It was really strange. And I kind of felt like there was like a decision that had to be made. If I was going to keep going down this road that I was on, that there was going to be some consequences, or somehow. I didn't understand at the time. But I ended up just taking the Ritalin, but when I was going to take it, I remember there was sort of weird sort of out-of-body experience that, like, it was just strange. Anyway, I took it, I went back into the room, and there was about 10 of us in this bedroom in my buddy's basement. And I just saw, you guys might not, I can't really explain this in a way that anyone really understand, because I wouldn't be able to understand unless I experienced it. And that was, my spirit left my body. My soul left my body. I think what happened on retrospect is I was going down a road that maybe God had a purpose for my life, and the road that I was going down, I wasn't gonna fulfill that purpose. And so I literally saw it as like a thing, like, go out the window in this basement. And I remember looking at my friends in this room. I remember thinking, I I just felt like a cavity, like it wasn't me. I couldn't talk to anybody. My conversation didn't make sense. I was hollow. Like for about 7 years, I didn't yawn and I didn't stretch. Like I didn't have that sensation. I have something called restless legs. So when I sit down, I kind of shake my leg a little bit, or when I'm going to bed, I kick my legs in the bed, and you know, this kind of essence of who you are completely stopped. I didn't experience any of that again, and I went into a complete depression and a shell. Like honest to God, like I had a social anxiety. My friends were wondering what was going on with me. I locked myself in my room, and I really started contemplating suicide because I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what was going on. All I knew is that I was this person who was a really popular guy in school to this person who was completely bankrupt of any kind of personality, or it was like a switch went off and I wasn't the same anymore. And I thought maybe if I just banged my head hard enough on the wall or something like that, maybe it would trigger it to come back or something. I didn't understand what was going on with me. And this lasted, so I dropped out of my high school and I went into another school that was away from town where no one knew who I was, and I didn't have to live up to anyone's expectations or anything because it was new there. And even there, you know, it was a desperate situation. Then I saw my brother, when I was home one day, I saw my brother reading the Bible. Going up the stairs, and I looked over my twin brother, and he was reading the Bible, and I said, geez, that's cool, you know, and that was just my initial reaction. I said, hey, that's cool. I'm gonna, you know, maybe I should look into reading the Bible and find out what's in there. Maybe there's some clues or something. Maybe I can figure out what's going on. And so I did. I read the Bible for a bit and started checking out other religions, other faiths. I thought, man, maybe, you know, maybe there is a God and maybe he can help me out. And so I checked them all out, but I ended up just in searching, I ended up kind of how I felt convicted is that the church and that Jesus was the way. So I ended up going to this church, and I moved with my twin brother. We moved, I was about 20 years old, moved to Alberta. We grew up in Nova Scotia. Anyway, we moved to Alberta, and we went out there for work. And I basically just followed him because, you know, like I said, I was in this crazy state. You know, I was taking antidepressants and seeing psychologists, not really getting any help. But so we went, and I ended up going to church there. I was looking for a church at the time, and I found this church, and there was this youth pastor called Brian David, and he was just this guy with a big heart for people. He was an ex-boxer or police chaplain or something, but he would stay up with me till 2 a.m. I'd come over to his house, and he'd just talk about God, and I had lots of questions. And so I kind of think if he hadn't have been there, I don't know if I would have been in the place where I am today. And you know, so just a testament to how a person can make a big impact on you. And I remember going to that church, and I said, Jeff, my twin brother, I said, Jeff, you got to come to church, and so you got to check this out. And so he came with me, and we both ended up getting saved through the process. I remember walking out of the church. I remember walking out of the church when I first started going. I remember looking out. I was in the parking lot. I was looking out. I sat in the back of the church, and I would just listen to the pastor, who I felt had a really big heart for God. I was looking for someone who was authentic. His name was Paul Ort, and when I walked out of that church, and I remember thinking to myself, I can go back in there and ask for help, can open up to the church, I can open up to this youth pastor, or I was looking out and I could see the cars driving by me. I just thought to myself, hey buddy, I'm just making a video. So I thought to myself, remember, there's just nothing for me in this world. There's nothing's gonna help me. So that's when I turned around and I went back to the church, and I finally opened up and told my pastor and my youth pastor, you know, what was going on with me and how I was going through just a crazy internal turmoil. And I thought I had to open up. I had to talk to somebody. And so I ended up completely changed. I got baptized in the Holy Spirit, and which was an amazing experience. And I'd like to, if anyone's considering it, I mean, I'd like to talk about that more, but that's something that's maybe for another video. But I ended up meeting my wife at the church. So what happened was, I was over there for dinner one day, at my girlfriend, or at her place. She had invited me over. We were going on walks, and I kind of felt like myself again around her, and I couldn't understand it. I was like, this is so strange. Like, how can this be? Like, I remember like working in a lumber yard, and you know, just trying to be by myself and build the orders and just be by myself. And I thought that would be a good place. But I remember the whole time I was there, I was thinking, I can't wait to go and see Amber. And we'd go on walks. And then my twin brother said, you know, Calv, you either got to ask her out or leave her alone. And I thought, okay, maybe he's onto something. So I went over there for dinner. She invited me to dinner, and I thought she made dinner, and anyway, I was just sitting there, and I heard a voice say, ask her out. And honest to God, I thought my dad was in the room. This was an audible voice. This wasn't just like inkling of something, but the voice said, ask her out. And I went, oh my gosh, Dad, my father was in Nova Scotia, but it was the sound of my dad's voice. And I kind of was like, what's going on? And then, so the 3 times this voice said, ask her out. So I was just, I don't know what it was, but I was sort of hesitant. I was like, what is going on? Like, you know, I was thinking to myself, you know, like, how can I do this to somebody? I felt like, how can I ask somebody out? Or when I was feeling the way I was, like depression was so overrun, I just thought I wouldn't want to do that to anybody. And so all of a sudden, it was a blue sky. All of a sudden, a storm came, and it was there was hail and everything else. So I said, I thought to myself, man, this is a sign. Like, I gotta ask her out. Like, this is God getting angry at me. So I did. I said, I sat her on the couch. I said, Amber, what do you think about me and you starting a relationship? And she looked at me for a long time, and I thought, well, maybe she's not feeling it. She's just big eyes, and like, it was almost in a state of shock. And she said, yes. And I thought, okay, well, I said, well, there's only one thing left to do. I said, and I went over there and I kissed her on the lips. And when I kissed her, whatever happened to me when I was 16 came back. I was me again. Like, even like if you think about Beauty and the Beast or something like that, when he turns into a beast and then he turns back to human, that's what it was like. I was human again. I was me again. And I had given up hope that I would ever be the sound mind. I had totally given up hope. And it wasn't anything that that she was, you know, anything that she was. It was, I mean, she obviously she's an amazing person, but it was more to do with, I believe it was God's purpose for me to be with her. So when I kissed her, maybe I was following God's plan. And so anyway, I was in a state of shock again, because I was like, oh my God, now I'm back. I remember on the walk home, I remember looking at the stars and feeling them again, or feeling like, I just remember looking up at the night sky and thinking, oh my gosh, I can't believe I am sound again. And I went back, and my brothers were at home, and we were living together, and I just looked at them again for the first time, and it seemed like in 7 years, and because this lasted 7 years, and where I was in this place of darkness, and I just couldn't believe that I could, you know, be normal again. And so anyway, we're still married. It's been 15 years now since now that we've been married, and I knew right away that I was going to marry her, because that was it. So but really, that was Jesus' plan for my life. And when I look back on how I used to see Jesus and how I didn't understand it, it's kind of very, you know, I can understand it way better now. I mean, when you're older, you have a different perspective, or when you actually read the Bible for the first time. And I didn't know that was his plan, was to die on the cross. I thought he lost and he died on the cross. I didn't realize that it was his purpose to come here and to do that. You know, all the Jews at the time were looking for a king to free them from the Romans. And I felt the same way, you know, and they said, you know, if you're the Son of God, get off the cross. Like, why are you dying, you know? And I didn't understand that he was dying for me. I didn't understand that he was dying for the sins of the world, that whoever believes in him will inherit eternal life. I didn't understand that. And then when I did understand that, it was life transformation. And so, you know, it's been a very gradual salvation, I guess. It's one that God's had to work out with me, like the Holy Spirit it is like a coach in my corner, and he's constantly revealing new truths that, you know, that have always been there, but helping me understand, you know, the impact, what Jesus actually did on the cross for people who believe in him. So yeah, so that's sort of my testimony. I hope this helps somebody. You know, if you're going through depression or anxiety, mine was a different experience where I did have all those things. I had mental illness and everything, but it was very sudden. It happened very sudden, and then it came back very sudden. Like, the healing was really sudden. Although I still do struggle with that sometimes. I still have mental illness, but at least I have a tool, like, to fight it, and like Jesus helps me fight it. But before, I couldn't. I was helpless. But I feel like my spirit is back, my soul is back, and that Jesus works out salvation through me. And you know, I'm just human. I make mistakes sometimes, and but I know that God is real. And I've told certain people in my family about this. I haven't told everybody, because there was a time where they just got tired of hearing, like, me trying to witness to them. So I just thought I'd share with somebody out there. Maybe someone wants to hear like maybe a redemption story of God is will help you. He will help you, and he can get you out of any situation. It's just Jesus, surrendering to Jesus, and having him be like a brother in your life, a friend, and like obviously I'm living proof that this can happen, that it still happens today. Like, this isn't a religion that's dead. This isn't it's very real. Like, it's very, it's happening right now. And Jesus is still alive. He's in spirit. He's still ministering to people like he did when he was here in body. He's just through the spirit, he works through other people. And he's working through me right now. So if anyone's struggling with something, like I say, I would just say, pray, pray that God delivers you, and Jesus would heal you, because and then stick to it. Like, if you're committed to it, he will be committed to you. So anyway, that's my testimony, and yeah, I just thought I'd share. Hope that encourages somebody. It's good for me to voice it out too, to hear it, because it's good when we share a testimony. So thank you, and see you next time.